What's Dewey?
It's the base. LOSO __ G.
DK, the engineer.
It's your boy, Let Have the T, B4V. You go, boy.
It's the base.
Run down.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
So, unfortunately, our hearts are broken. President Kanye is not happening in 2020 as of now. You know, it's actually conflicting reports. According to a number of my sources, shout out to Adam Amin, these tweets are hilarious. A couple people like killed him in these tweets. Electoral college dropout. Ye is out. He's out. He's not running for president anymore. I know the necessary paperwork. I don't believe that he.
Oh, he didn't do the paperwork. I thought he dropped. Oh my god! This.
Well, I know the paperwork. The paperwork is like the biggest issue.
This guy's a slacker, bro. I'm disappointed. All this fucking money, you couldn't even pay somebody to do it for you. He's not taking that shit serious, man. Because it's just like just by running for office, your value just goes up. So I don't understand why he didn't even just pull a stunt. Because that's what I thought Trump was doing, bro. Like at the beginning, I was just like, yo, he's just pulling stunts.
Did anyone really take him seriously? Like
I took him as serious as I took Trump at the beginning.
I thought he was gonna do it, bro.
Anywhere?
I'm with Jose. I took him as seriously as when I found out Trump was running. I thought it was a spoof. I was like, he's just doing this for money. So that was my level of like of validity I was given to it.
I don't think you were wrong. He's still doing it for money. He's just playing the longer game.
I mean, but he won though. Like, like as like the story unfolded, and like he actually was proving that Hillary. Okay, he had a whole game plan. We talked about this. He had a whole game plan, and he executed to perfection. Mm-hmm. Crooked Hillary, yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Kanye with that kind of like vitriol. I don't see him like putting those types of things. Like again, he wants Wakanda forever to be his his blueprint.
America forever. That's his slogan. He should have just hired us as his campaign managers. I think we would have done a fantastic job on building his brand during this campaign.
He tried to create his own party, the birthday party. That's facts. You can look that up. You can look that up.
The birthday party.
The
birthday party.
That shit is.
The birthday party was the
birthday suits everywhere.
The birthday. the birthday party was the political party he wanted to discover, and his slogan was "Yes, yes, yes." That was Kanye's campaign slogan. Yes, yes, yes! Exclamation points, all caps.
I just don't care, bro. I believed him as much as I believed Trump, and then Trump became my president. So, well, he became y'all president because Obama.
Y'all president. Oh, I don't acknowledge.
No, he's still the president. Bro.
Whatever. I don't acknowledge it. I call him the Orange Man. Anytime anybody brings it up, I call him the Orange Man. You will never. The only time you hear me say President Trump is in description, but nah, ain't my president.
Speaking of other people within the orange culture.
Okay, so this is some breaking news as well. Local police have applied for a warrant for the arrest of Bob and Karen. Those are going to happen. They're going to have warrants for their arrest because, again, they broke the law. But what we do know so far, aside from that, is that police seized the assault rifle that Bob was carrying here and seized her handgun from Men in Black as well. So their weapons have been seized, and arrest warrants are on the way. I think they are going to get arrested. I said that all along, right? I said that all along. Like Fab didn't believe it. Fab didn't believe it. Fab was like, he doesn't see anything happen to him. But I really believed all along that they were going to get arrested.
But what's exactly going to come out of this? Like, what are they going to get charged with? Like, is it just going to be like a little bill? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
nothing's going to happen. Then.
Yeah, it's just
they might get arrested.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that they're going to go to jail and like freaking serve crazy jail time or whatnot. Like, I don't think that's going to be the case. Mm-hmm. However, I do believe that their law firm that they both represent, their careers are going to be damaged by this. Absolutely. Because this is going to be associated with race. This is going to be associated with Black Lives Matters. This whole racial awareness Like I believe they're going to get canceled for this, or greatly damaged from this career wise. That's what's going to come for it. And honestly, I would rather that happen to them versus actual jail time, because I think that's more. To me, that sends a bigger message to people that your life can get fucked up from doing racist things versus you serve
bullshit.
from doing bullshit. Then you serve three months and then you get off in like half a month with time served because you're white and your white privilege takes over. No. I want you to lose your job. I want you to have a hard time finding work. To me, that resonates more than sweetheart deals. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I don't know.
About it.
But when it comes to these people, like I think that when one avenue closes, one is going to open. Like definitely the NRA advocate. I don't think their careers are done. I think they'll get canceled in one segment in society and be elevated in another. So I think they'll be just fine, honestly.
All right. So I just want a level of cancellation. I want a level of cancellation though. That would appease me. That would appease the masses. Like the law firm like folds or something, or you see what I'm saying? Or
well, they better move out of St. Louis. I don't think they should stay in St. Louis, to be honest.
Why? Because somebody's gonna harm them.
I mean, maybe not even harm them, but harassment. Like I don't know, bro. Like
I doubt it.
You know,
I haven't seen somebody get.
And then you have all that money, bro. Like I don't know. You got a fuck ton of money. The fuck are you doing in St. Louis?
Moving on to another city.
So we do have some breaking news to add to this what's going on. So what happened was the Redskins are going to change their name. They retired the name of the organization that's been around for 80 years. They're no longer going to have the same logo. They're no longer going to use the racial slur as the team's official name or whatever, thanks to $625 million worth of pressure. Redskins are no more. So
$625 million?
$625 million worth of sponsors were ready to just cut ties completely. I told you, not if you go on NFL Shop right now, there's no Redskin paraphernalia.
Oh no! So let's find as much as we can and sell it for high amounts of money. to raise it.
Yeah, we need to buy up all the Redskin shit still around. It'll be worth a lot.
And sell it back to racists.
And sell it back to racists.
Exactly.
Don't let them take away your shirt, your jerseys from you. Every jersey matters.
All jerseys matter.
All jerseys matter.
All jerseys matter. But coupled with this, some breaking news as well. A report just broke this week, today actually, that the owner, Daniel Snyder, of the Redskins, he sexually harassed 15 former coworkers. So they've got a class action, allegedly. So he may or may not be canceled when this is all said and done. And there are minority owners that are pulling out. You know, they were already pulling out beforehand with the name change, but as recently as earlier this week, they just started pulling in droves. Like, listen, we're distancing ourselves. We don't want anything to do with the Redskins. So a lot going on with that team. I'm not a fan. I'm a Cowboy fan, so I can care less. But it's entertaining as a sports fan and sports journalist.
Speaking of reparations,
the Breonna Taylor protest they turned it up a notch. So 87 people went outside of the house of the Attorney General of Kentucky, and they just sat on his lawn, and they were like, "Listen, we're not moving until you do something." Mind you, he's a black guy, but that's neither here nor there. So everyone who did and there were a number of celebrities there too. Yeah. There was a couple of there was a chick from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I believe. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
They don't matter.
There's another.
Most people that don't matter.
There was an NFL player. There was an NFL player there too. Kenny Stills, wide receiver of the Houston Texans. He was also arrested. He was there. So
he wasn't tackling anybody? What the fuck? Why'd he go if he's not there to be the fucking tank of the group? They don't have enough healers.
August Alsina was there. Jada Pinkett was there.
Oh man.
Will Smith was there.
Where was Will?
But yeah, they so anyway, all of them were arrested, and all of them can face up to 5 years in prison. Like they're trying to give them Fed time because you're not really supposed to
They're
show up to
not getting that kind of time.
I don't think so either.
They're just so sharp that no one's gonna get that kind of time, bro.
I don't believe so. I'm with you.
They're just trying to start.
I agree. No, I agree. I don't think it's going to get to that level, so to speak. But yeah, listen. More audio. Another update with that case. More audio came out. The actual audio from one of the officers that shot Breonna Taylor, coupled with her boyfriend who survived the shooting. Both of their audios came out on, and I urge our listeners to go listen. I urge you guys to listen to it as well. It's about 45 minutes each one. No, one's an hour and a half. The other one's 45 minutes, and it chronicles exactly what happened that night. And bro, it's a lot that is in play here. Like this whole thing is a whole freaking movie. Like when it's all said and done, there's more information that's slowly coming out of a subsequent cover up. There were a real quick teaser involved with it. The cops were looking for a white guy that night, and obviously Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend are not white. When they shot to death this poor girl and pulled out the boyfriend, they were just like, "So there's a white guy inside, right?" And the boyfriend's like, "No, like I've been here for 4 days. What the hell, you guys? Like, there's no white guy here."
Yeah.
Oh, like obviously they messed up. He even says it in the audio. He's like, "Yo, man, you could tell that they fucked up. Like I'm not an idiot. Like their whole mood changed when I told them that there wasn't a white guy in there." So it's a lot going on with it, man. This Breonna Taylor thing is far from done, man. It's far from done.
It's fucking crazy, man.
How many days now, Loso?
I don't even know. I want to be accurate, so I don't want to say a day, but it's over. It's definitely over 115 though. Definitely over 115.
Yeah.
One of the cops is on vacation. I think he's in Florida right now, just living his best
he
life.
took a picture with two people talking about
Two individuals.
I never felt so free in my life type shit. Like, bro, what? It's crazy, bro.
Wow. So we're gonna keep on monitoring that story on the base. Hopefully, we'll have updates as this plays out. You know, we're gonna keep talking about it because it's one of the craziest things that's going on right now in conjunction with the Black Lives Matters protests and movement. So yeah.
Going back to Class Clowns. Look at this motherfucker, son. This Goya shit is
Goya?
ridiculous.
I thought you'd be. Listen, no offense, DK. I thought you'd be like hot with this whole Goya thing, as the lone like Hispanic on this show.
I stopped buying Goya a lot of Goya. I mean, I still get them, but not as many because the ingredients are not really that good.
Okay.
I get them when they're cheap. But at the end of the day, if we look into most of the products we buy, you're gonna find racist people behind it. Like, I get where people are coming from. Not that I don't respect it, but like, I'm not angry because if we look at just about every company, we can get angry about it. And not saying not to do this or whatever, but it's like when we look at the bigger picture, you know, what is this really doing?
So did the Goya guy say anything racist, or is he just a Trump supporter?
The CEO. The CEO came out last week, and he was at the White House because Trump was passing a Hispanic heritage bill or something like that was supposed to funnel in more jobs and more money and more resources into the Hispanic community, which is a good thing when you think about it. It's a great thing. And the CEO of Goya was there for this bill being passed and this announcement, and he mentioned that Trump is doing an exemplary job or doing an excellent job right now as president. Mind you, this is the same Donald Trump who called Mexicans terrorists, who has been historically racist toward Latinos as well as blacks and a number of other ethnic groups. So, just saying, I don't think the Hispanic community was too happy about that. Of course, you've got his lovely, lovely daughter, Ivanka. She posted that on her Instagram or her Twitter, I believe, holding Goya beads. So a lot of and also Trump supporters are trying to cancel the Goya boycott. They're buying up Goya products in droves. So They're fighting back.
Only one company's winning right now. Goya.
I guess. But as a result of that Instagram or Twitter social media picture that Ivanka took with Goya, there is a possible ethics probe that might happen involving her, because it's law, black and white, that you can pull it up real quick, Jose. An employee shall not use or permit the use of his government, or her in this case, government position or title, or any authority associated with his or her public office to endorse any product, service, or enterprise, the law reads. So technically, Ivanka's breaking the law. Must run in the family.
They're kind of technically doing it with how they're promoting the Trump brand, no? How they kind of like promote their hotels and stuff like that through this indirectly? Because didn't she try to sell jewelry too? Like, I wonder how far that extends, because it's like,
what's got to be
the Trump is such a big.
It's got to be
not that I support that. I think that's kind of dick, because it's just like, my fault before you go on. It's like, it's just like going back to what Edwin said. The shit is just beast press. Like, it's just you're being associated with like an elite group, like especially like the White House and money and Trump, and it's like, this is like a win from all angles. They should take all that money they're making now and just donate it. But they're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that. They're not doing it with an actual direct product, to my knowledge. Like, you don't see Trump in front of like Trump Towers. Come to Trump Towers, make America great again. Like, he's not. He knows he can't do that, right? Yeah. But with Goya, this is the first time they're actually linking themselves on, and yeah, they're gonna argue that we're just supporting this product, this American product, and this American institution that's suffering turmoil right now with COVID and with some ignorant people that are against America and American heritage. But no, it's pandering, bro. It's trying to pander for votes to the Hispanic community.
I think at the end of the day, they'll probably be even. There'll be a small group of people who boycott them. There'll be a small group of people who buy extra shit, and most of everyone will just go about their business, you know?
Right.
I just know the next
people
day.
Still eating Wendy's, right? Okay, what is it? People still eating Wendy's, right?
And Chick-fil-A too.
And Starbucks?
Chick-fil-A is rocking. Chick-fil-A is rocking, by the way.
Chick-fil-A is rocking, bro, and I'm confused.
Rocking. No.
Switching over to important things in the looming threat.
Segue God. Yeah. This is something we definitely discussed in past episodes for our listeners and viewers out there. Shout out to the Base Rundown followers. Go ahead, DK.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm just curious, man, because it's just like, I feel like it's not gonna happen. Like, I feel like some relief has to be like put in there to prevent this from happening. Like, I just can't imagine. Like, I feel like if this actually happens, like, it's just gonna be like chaos everywhere, because it's millions and millions of people that would be left like without a home, and then it's just like, so I just have questions in general. It's just like, well, first and foremost, I think there's only like 2 weeks left, right? Like 9 days before whatever they can start legally doing it. Is there anything up for vote that's supposed to like maybe extend this?
I know there's a number. I've got to do some more research, but I do believe there are a number of bills that of course, Democrats are trying to push that is going to provide some relief in the housing sector for individuals with rent and mortgage payments and house payments and so forth and so on. I'm pretty sure the Republicans are against it because they want to do their version of it. Because again, it's not, and I going back to last week a bit. Yeah, I was harsh on the Republicans, and rightfully so, but it's not like they don't want anything to happen. It's just they want their version of bipartisan bills to be passed that they're comfortable with, that they don't have to pay for, specifically, that doesning tax the rich. Yeah. You know what I mean? Versus the Democrats are like, yo, we want to push stuff across. We know that the rich, you guys aren't going to be hurting if we tax you a little bit more to take care of this. Because it's not like we can't find the money. We can find the money, but we got to work together to find the money. You know what I mean? So yeah, but long-winded. Sorry guys, but I believe some stuff is in the works, because this is real, man. Like, bro, when the coast is clear for COVID, if the current trajectory stands in place, is a lot of people are going to be out of a home, dude. Out of a house, like they're going to lose their houses, they're going to lose their apartments, they're going to be evicted.
That just seems like the worst direction to take things, because it's just like you want people sheltered in, like you don't want people moving around and like spreading this. So that's why, like, to me, it's just like this has been going on, and I more frequently recently, just people talking about the coming eviction crisis, and I'm just like, is it really gonna fucking happen? Because I feel like that's in everyone's worst interest for that shit to happen.
Yeah,
agreed.
But I don't know.
The thing is, it's like the U.S. doesn't have the infrastructure. Like, we have the space, but we don't have the infrastructure to house mass homeless. So it's gonna be it's definitely gonna be up to like local governments to figure out what the fuck's happening. I think a lot of places it's gonna be a shit show. Like in New York, it's gonna be a shit show, and like we have the strongest tenant protections like in the nation, right? Outside of maybe like San Francisco, it's gonna be a shit show here. So it's gonna be a shit show everywhere.
A lot of shit. A lot of
shit, man. A lot of shit.
Y'all really think they're just gonna let that shit happen? Like,
what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do about it? Like, what do you like? How do you stop something like that?
The federal government can't like jump in, provide some type of aid.
I mean, they can give people money, right? But like on a local level, for example, like there's nothing stopping a local government from not instituting, like no eviction orders and things like that. Like New York's a little different because we have crazy tenant protections. But if you go to a place like Louisiana where they can kick you out instantly, with no sort of recourse, is gonna be real messy. Just because it's piecemeal. Like everyone operates differently, so it's
yeah. No, I get that, but wasn't the what the fuck? What was it called? The CARES Act? Didn't that kind of like interrupt that and kind of set for the whole country? Like, hey, you can't evict people. I mean, it's still accumulating like all the money, but you can't evict, right? Like, because I get that it's like it's different in every state. That makes 100% sense, and I think it's even different even within the state sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's just like I feel like you just can't like. I mean, exactly because of what you said. We don't have the infrastructure for this shit. So it's just like, to me, it's just like we're gonna shoot ourselves in the foot, or the government shooting us all in the foot if they don't like come in.
No, I agree, but I think it's going to be a blowing point because it's going to be a real battle to have landlords who've been losing money, to not evict people. It's going to be a mess. Mortgage companies are going to want they're going to want their money from landlords. Landlords are going to want their money from tenants. Tenants are going to need a place to live. It's just going to be a shit show. I mean, the Fed has a lot of power, but like even with full intervention, there's like something has to break somewhere. I don't know.
Do you know how much money the state actually makes from just rent and stuff like that? From housing in general? How much income do states? What percentage? Or does it vary state by state?
From property tax?
Yeah, from property and stuff like that, and from renters paying and stuff like that. Because that's one of the things that I saw when I was looking up information. It was like that one of the reasons that rent hasn't been canceled is because the taxes from all of that is used to pay a lot of like other services. So it's like if we don't have that.
Well, it's property tax, right? So property tax is different everywhere. Like even within New York State, like property tax is wildly different. Like Long Island's known to have huge property taxes, right? Like they're famous for that. And property taxes pay for schools. That's generally in America how we pay for school districts. That's why school districts that are either in rural areas or like poor, quote unquote, urban areas are underfunded. It's because of property taxes. So property taxes does pay for a lot of things, right? If you're not getting rent, how is it like, if you're a landlord, how are you going to pay your property taxes if, you're losing money on rent? Like you don't have the money. So it's a mess. Property taxes pays for a lot. It pays for schools, pays for a lot of things locally.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah.
Jump in.
No.
Yeah, whatever. So I mean, I'm with Ed completely, 1,000%. I do think it's going to be a shit show, even if not completely on some level, because I think the states are going to have to step in. Like the individual governors are going to have to step in. You know what I mean? Just like with schooling. We're going to get to schools later in the show. But, the president and the federal power only goes so far. Remember, it's 50 states ran 50 ways differently. So governors are going to have to step in on each state and figure out how are they going to provide some relief to landlords, to a lot of these banks, you see what I'm saying? And a lot of these mortgage companies, in the face of this. But I wanted to throw some numbers out. I was going to use this later on, but these numbers are actually, you know how I love numbers, guys. So I was going to use this later, but this is more pertinent to what we're talking about with the housing. Did you guys know that nearly 1/3 of U.S. renters didn't pay rent in April? That's a third.
Damn, bro, that's nuts.
Here's another one. 25% of New York City tenants haven't paid rent since March.
Oof.
That's 25%.
Yeah, shit's about to go down, bro.
The shit show's starting.
It's about to go down.
Here's a few more. 32% of U.S. households missed their July housing payments. That's more than a quarter. So 32%.
We're not even done with July.
Not even done with July. It's not even August yet. And they're just like, yeah, we're not paying for this month. And last but not least, 30 million people are currently collecting unemployment as of today. 30 million. And I'm one of the 30 million. And so is my mother. So to go back to throw these out, to go back to Ed's point, the shit show's already started, bro.
You know what? It's a good thing that the White House actually gave some advice on what you can do if you're in need of a job.
Segue God! Bro, so this ad that Ivanka Trump, by the way, before I get to the ad, we gotta talk about Ivanka because she's pushing it. She's the face of the Find Something New campaign. Trump made her the co-chair of the American Workforce Policy Advisory Board back in 2018 that he created. Because remember, when Trump realized that he was going to become president, oh shit, I actually got to do work. He promised more jobs. He promised more U.S. jobs, and we weren't going to outsource to China. Yeah. So he creates an advisory board, workforce related, and rather than hire somebody with expertise in this manner, he hires his daughter, who's never worked for a job a day in her life. But that's neither here nor there. She mentioned in the Find Something New campaign I watched an excerpt of the Zoom chat she did with a number of people that are helping push this ad or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she's quoted as saying, I can't believe she said this, bro. Americans should embrace the chaos and find something new. Her words.
Oh man, trolling. Come on. Like they're not that not self-aware, bro.
They're not that. You don't think they're that
trolling.
Tone deaf?
They're trolling.
They're trolling. You don't think they're that tone deaf?
Super trolling, bro.
They're like, yo, just find a job. I don't understand what's wrong. Just find a
job. Yo, they definitely have 4chan accounts.
They're walking 4chan accounts, bro.
Yo,
walking 4chan.
The Ad Council commercial. That's the one they made. Did they really make that shit?
This is real. This is not a spoof. This is an actual commercial.
Son, this shit looks like some shit from The Onion, bro.
Yo,
this is not.
It does. And this guy in particular, he looks like Rick Ross's like good side. Like,
woo!
Like Rick Ross is the Sith version of this dude.
We're gonna watch. I'll tell you. This is the Find Something New ad. It rolled out this week, pushed by the lovely Ivanka Trump. And
lovely.
We're about to watch it. This is hilarious.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job.
I need a new career.
Well,
you will find something new.
This shit looks so fucking fake.
It's real. No, this is real. This was the actual. I didn't believe it myself. I had to go find it. I had to make sure that this was an actual website, that this is an actual ad campaign. This isn't a spoof. This shit is real. Like, they rolled this shit out couple days ago. She's the face of it. Because again, remember, she's the co-chair of the American Workforce Policy Advisory Board. So literally the board created to ensure that Americans are prosperous during times of need in terms of finding jobs, creating jobs. They roll out a campaign telling people in the midst of a pandemic, listen, just find something new. That's like going up to that's like going up to a homeless person and saying, listen, just go find a sandwich.
Okay, but time out. Okay, let's actually try to evaluate this, right? So I'm at the website. I'm on the title screen. Okay, looks like a guy putting in.
That's why you were clicking.
Yeah,
man,
it looks like a guy putting in solar panels. Okay, all right. Colored person. Thumbnail. All right, cool. All right, look, rising careers. Aerospace engineering and operations technician, broadcast and sound engineering technician, computer support specialist, contact tracer, diagnostic medical sonographer, electrician, registered nurse, web developer. What do all these have in common, right? You think people? Here's the thing: the people in these fields probably are not having trouble finding work.
Finding new jobs. Yeah.
So it's like, so this is such a fucking scam, bro. It's not even a scam. It's just like political bullshit. Like none of these people are having issues finding a job. If you're a registered nurse and you lose your job in this climate, you can get a new job like that. Come on, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like they're gonna throw money at you.
I'll take it a step further to debunk the bullshit, bro. Okay, so two of the main donors to the Find Something New campaign are Apple and IBM. And I think the chain of commerce as well. Those are three of the big donors. They've donated millions. I don't know the exact number. They've donated significant amount to the Find Something New campaign. Mind you, I think there's a tab on there, if I'm not mistaken, for Apple jobs. If you click on it, it takes you to the beginner classes for coding. So if you take these beginner classes, mind you, how are you going to pay for them if you need to find something new and you're out of work? So if you take those beginner coding classes, are you going to be desirable to work at Apple tomorrow after you take these classes? It's bullshit, bro.
Probably never.
Exactly. This is like they basically created a freaking cheap, obscure version of Indeed.com. And we're just like, and we're like, you listen, hey, find something new.
Oh my God. Like, here's the thing, like in a vacuum, right? Like without this is not like a bad idea, right? But to drop this and then claim that it's going to be some sort of like help to people is fucking insulting, bro. Like,
yes,
like
took
honestly,
the words out my mouth, bro.
If they would have dropped this shit, like, right in the beginning of this campaign, like 2016, 2017, 2018, if they would have dropped this, I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. Like, this is a cool little portal. Not sure if it's going to have any sort of real effect, but I'm like, all right, whatever, that's cool. But to do that now, that's fucking insulting. People, 28 million people are at risk of being homeless, right? 1 in 3 people are like unemployment, have no job. It's like, and then you're going to tell them to find something new, bro?
Yes, bro. Yes.
What?
Dude,
what?
It's so...
Oh, my God.
This whole thing is so freaking elitist. It's so like, listen, figure it out. Like, yo,
this is a troll, bro.
Bro, if okay,
this is 4chan. This isn't the government.
Hypothetically speaking, say like you're a father of 4, right? Mm-hmm. And your wife is pregnant with number 5, or she just doesn't work. She does she's a stay-at-home mom.
You gotta sell the first 2 babe. No, I'm kidding, but no.
It's terrible.
Gotta offer him up. You gotta offer him up. You get a payment.
So what are you finding new? Are you worried more so about finding something new, or how much for a gallon of milk, or your next meal, or your next housing payment, or your next car payment, or your next phone bill or light bill? Like, bro, the freaking direct money to Americans, that's more so of an issue right now. Because yes, the employment situation, that's a crisis. That's an issue. I'm in it, so I would know firsthand. But direct payments to Americans out of work who are afraid to go back to work because it's not safe because of COVID-19, that is more of a pressing issue. Like, dude, Ed, you took the words out of my mouth. When I was preparing what I was gonna say for this foolishness, I said to myself, this is
so
fucking
stupid.
this is fucking insulting, bro. It is. Like, how are you gonna tell 30 million people out of work? Listen,
No.
just find something new. Yeah, let's find something new.
Yeah,
Or the people,
Yo,
It's just a job, bro.
Go start a
It's just
podcast.
a job.
It's just a job, bro. That should be the name of the campaign. It's just a job,
It's
bro.
just a job. Yeah, exactly.
while we're on the topic of people that need a new job,
Segue God.
Oh,
Loso.
you got this corny guy.
man.
Oh man, wait,
Loso.
time out. Before we even go there, right?
Go ahead,
so
go ahead.
I read this. I read the little thing, right? And then I clicked on a thumbnail. I thought it'd just be like a little clip of what he said. It was the whole thing. So I listened to the whole fucking thing.
The
right?
whole podcast?
It was an hour and 40 something minutes. It was Professor
Okay.
Griff and this guy. I listened to the whole thing. All right, introduce it, because this shit is crazy. Because what they're like calling him out for isn't even close to the
How
worst shit that
bad
he
he
said.
went.
Not even
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. But I'll let you tee it
That's
up.
crazy. Everyone listen to Nick Cannon's podcast before we listen to his
I
own.
know.
Anyway.
I'm embarrassed.
So Nick Cannon got fired from Viacom CBS because on his podcast, Nick has a podcast. From what the quotes I saw was him calling white people animals or
Savages.
Right?
Right.
And they were like, "Yo, Nick." They're like, "Nick, take it back," and he was like, "Nah, I'm not taking shit back." They were like, "All right, well, you're fired."
Well, he actually apologized today. Like they
Yeah.
released like a really, but the
He
thing
couldn't
is,
get another job.
But the thing is like these apologies are so slippery, right? Because it's like if you read the apology, I can't quote it exactly, but it sounded somewhat sincere. He kind of called out his own ignorance a little bit, but it's like, bro, you still believe, like your beliefs don't change that quickly. During the podcast, so it's important to get context, know who he had on the show. So he had this guy named Professor Griff on, right? He was the Minister of Information for Public Enemy, like Chuck D, Flavor Flav originally. He got kicked out of the group in 1989, supposedly for saying, some anti-Semitic stuff, right? Like, who knows what actually went down. But that's what he said. So ever since then, he's been kind of like a figure in hip-hop. Like, he's just, like, he was there, right? So a lot of people don't touch Professor Griff because they don't want to be associated with him, just because anti-Semitic, whatever. But Nick Cannon was like, "Yo, let me have you on the show, like this, that, and the third." So they had a conversation, and the conversation started normal, started okay, right? They're just talking about Public Enemy, how it started, the situation that led up to him being kicked out, and then they started talking about music executives and how a lot of them are Jewish, right? And, normal conversation, nothing crazy. And then it slowly turns into, like, this crazy, like, it is weird, bro, because they were talking about, like, spirituality, religion, Judeo-Christian stuff. But it's basically, like, Nation of Islam combined with, like, Black Hebrew Israelite ideology, basically. And what I recall Nick Cannon saying is that he was saying that melanated people, right, people with melanin have a certain soul, a certain essence that gives us like compassion, and people who don't have that are less. He even said, let me say this carefully, right? And then he proceeds to not say anything carefully, which is hilarious. But
Facts.
But
Facts,
he basically suggested that people who aren't melanated, whatever, are less than, and because they were in the mountains of Caucasus and cave dwellers, that they had to resort to being animals and conquerors and act like savages, etc. Right? So, it goes through a typical line of thinking: Black people are the real Jews, and et cetera, et cetera. And then they would say this, right? And then afterwards, they'd be like, "Oh, but it's all from love, though." And I'm like it's just
Yeah,
weird.
you can't. Yeah, you.
And
Yeah,
then
you can't-
it even
yeah.
got fucking weird. Like there's this one time where they were talking about like how the sun connects with black people different than other people, and we absorb the sun, and
Like
they were
solar
like-
panels.
Yo, exactly. We're fucking solar panels, right? So
We get
So-
single with the sun.
yeah, Elon Musk is gonna make us obsolete. So it's like So he was like, yeah, you have to absorb the vibration through your third eye. And my man was wearing jewelry. I was like, yo, just take off the jewelry. And this is Professor Griff. He's like, take
You
off the
want
jewelry
shots.
and let the vibrations, like close your eyes and let the vibrations flow through. Like this weird pseudoscience bullshit, bro. They went all like literally every Hebrew Israelite conspiracy Nation of Islam type shit they went through. That was the whole thing. And he wonders why he got fired.
It was ancient aliens, and then he's like,
Bro, this was black ancient aliens. That's what it was.
They got them so fast.
Well, I will say this. I will say this though about the. That's hilarious. I will
Oh
say
yeah,
this.
and they started talking about the NWO, Bilderberg, the 13 Families, Rothschild,
Oh,
bro.
my-
All
no,
the conspiracy
no.
theories.
See, now I gotta watch.
They went
Now
through all of
I
them.
gotta watch now. I gotta
Bro,
watch now. I'm gonna
They
watch
went
it tonight.
So they went through like the black shit, then they went through the run of the mill, like Alex Jones shit. It's bro.
Bilderberg.
Bro.
Haven't heard that in a while. Well, I will say this: the part where he was talking about the calling whites true savages.
Savages,
Here's the thing, though. That part I want to just decode that real quick because historically speaking, Europeans they didn't just do this to blacks in Africa and the Aboriginals in like Tasmania or whatnot. They called the Native American savages as well when they first came over here. So if you were non-European, if you were freaking natives here or North America, freaking the Aztecs and the Mayans in South America, Africans directly on the continent, whatever Aboriginals, like I said in Tasmania, who they wiped out, which is unfortunate.
Don't get us fired, Hugo.
What I'm saying is that they label.
What I'm saying is that I agree with him. No, I'm playing.
What I'm saying as a black Jew is I don't know. What I'm saying is Europeans, you guys are assholes. Europeans historically called non-Europeans, particularly black-skinned natives as well as Native Americans, they called us savages.
That's
So I think that's what he was trying to get at before all the Scientology wacko shit happened. Because I heard a lot of that stuff too. I didn't watch the whole thing because I couldn't get through it, but because it was going left. But what I will say is that I believe he was trying to explain and debunk that myth, you know what I mean, of whites historically referring to people that look like everybody on this podcast as savages. You know, it's
I
just
think that's
it's
a
just
very charitable view. I did not get that at all. It did not seem like he had any nuance to what he was saying whatsoever. He was being pretty explicit, and then I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I gotta watch it again. Right?
Well,
Like,
listen,
he sounded like he was
well-
being pretty explicit. Like
well,
there was not that level of nuance.
listen. Ed Boy hated Drumline. He hated Underclassmen. He hated
Wait,
Love Don't
what?
Cost a Thing.
What?
So wait,
How is that relevant? I mean,
so
Drumline was okay. I never. What? Wait. That's not even it. I took notes because this shit was crazy. They spoke about numerology, right? Roman Catholics are the Illuminati. What else?
I've heard that before, though. I definitely heard that before.
did they speak about the rocks?
The crystals? Yo, I know a girl who's into that, bro. That's crazy.
Oh my god! Stop talking to her. Do yourself a
Oh
favor.
yeah, blacks
Stop
were
it.
the first Freemasons. What else?
Abraham Lincoln's black.
Sage,
I don't
you
know,
gotta
maybe.
make sure you sage yourself. You sage yourself every time before you leave the house.
They're poisoning the toothpaste, which is Alex Jones' favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, you gotta watch it. And I'm not even like exaggerating. I wish I was exaggerating. Like,
I'm watching
not
it for
even.
sure. I'm watching it for sure. That's the only thing I could take from it, though, like the racial aspect. But once it gets to like the pseudo
That's not even the
wonky
worst
Scientology
part.
shit,
That's the thing. If
crazy.
he wants to, it's his platform. He can say whatever he like. I don't care what he says. I just find it interesting that people are like surprised that he got fired. they probably people at Viacom probably listen to the whole thing and be like, yo, this dude is fucking crazy.
He gotta
Like even
go.
if,
They're
like
like, he
even
gotta
if you
go.
remove all of even if you remove all the racial stuff, right? Let's say you just pulled all that out. You just have a typical Alex Jones episode. That's what you have. So,
but you can't forget though. You can't forget we're in 2020. We're still in the PC. You can't say anything about anything era, dude. Like that hasn't gone away. If anything, the protests and the BLM movement, whatever, and the racial awakening or whatever, and the Twitter police and the cancel culture, that's heightened it, right? So you figure they watch that wonky ass interview and they just pick and choose. Like, yo, this is kind of too close to home. He's got to go.
yeah,
So there you go. There you have it.
Yeah, I just find it interesting is that like when I read the headlines, the only thing for the most part they say, oh, it was like anti-Semitic. I'm like, bro,
there you go.
They went through mad crazy shit. That's not even scratching the surface. But I mean, here's what I hope comes out of it, right? Like he can think whatever he wants to think. I don't who cares what he thinks? I think what he should do, he has his own platform. He should collaborate with people who have their own platform and like you were saying, cancel culture, whatever, maybe this will encourage a new wave of people creating their own, lanes instead of relying on legacy companies like Viacom and things like that. So, I mean, this could be the best thing that ever happened to him. Who knows? This could be awesome.
Dude, Diddy already reached out to him. Diddy already reached out to him to join Revolt TV, which is black owned. It's Diddy's whole, that's his baby. So, like, honestly, if he's smart, I'm with you. He should just take that lane. And honestly, from the controversy from this, the eyes are going to be on his next product anyway, or his next project anyway. Yeah. So this could be a legit come up for him, especially it's quarantine. Everybody's home. They want to watch it.
Only thing I watch on TV too is Wildin' Out. So
while we're on the topic of people wilding out on lanes,
segue God. Well, I'll tee this up. This is an issue that a lot of people don't know is going on in direct correlation with the protests and BLM and the racial awakening of America. So protesters have been driven into with cars over 60 times since May. The protests really started, like, if you guys remember, back in like the end of March, the beginning of April into May. That's when these protests really started ratcheting up or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so what racists are doing, since they obviously don't agree with Black Lives Matters, All Lives Matters, but here's the irony: all lives matter, but you're driving into a crowd of people. they're all not black. Like, a lot of them are white, a lot of them are Hispanic, a lot of them are non-black. But that's neither here or there. But recently, a few of these people have been brought to justice. Some are still at large. But the major ones that have taken place, this one actually happened, if you guys remember the last episode, when we talked about the brother who almost got lynched in Indiana. Yeah. There was a protest. The very next day. This weirdo-ass looking orange is the new black-looking chick. She drove into the crowd. And luckily she didn't kill anybody. But she harmed about 3 or 4 individuals. She was arrested this week and brought to justice. Another one that took place was this one happened in Seattle. I found the footage for it, but I don't want to show the footage because it's so freaking disturbing. Like, I know you guys.
That shit sounded like a gunshot. Yeah, they hit him, and it sounded like a fucking explosion.
Yo, I woke up. I woke up to that on Twitter. It's the first thing I saw the next day when it happened.
Yeah, that's sad.
The young lady who died. She died the next day, obviously. But it was terrible. But yes, this asshole who did that hit and run, he was brought to justice as well. These people are being arrested. These people are being caught and brought to justice. But the fact that it's happening at an alarming rate,
it's crazy.
60 different cases across the country thus far since the beginning of the protests. So
and
I mean,
here's the thing. It's like, bro, if you want to commit a crime, not advocating anyone take this advice, but if you do want to harm someone, don't do it with a license plate that could identify you. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
We don't want this to be a resource for fucking murderers,
I'm
bro.
just saying.
You know what I'm
just
saying?
saying.
Like, and he always warns. Not that I'm telling you to commit a murder, but this is how you
But,
get away with
but,
that
but,
shit.
yeah, that's stupid, bro. Like, come on.
These idiots
Yo.
are thinking racist means driving cars because they're stupid. So they're trying to hit you
yo,
with it.
he's over. Yo, Ed Boy's over here trying to mansplain vehicular manslaughter right now, and it's crazy.
Take the license plate off before you hit
It's
people.
Good. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
I'm just saying, there's a better way, guys.
What's going on with the? What's really good with the movement in general, though? Like,
Black Lives Matter?
I'm not saying it. Yeah, like I'm not like what's been coming out of it recently.
It's been okay. I can talk directly to this. I keep telling people, even in our private like Penn State chat, you know, we talk about it.
Yeah.
I had mentioned the other day that the protests are working, and somebody had laughed at me like I was crazy, like I was on some Kanye shit. But if you do look at the bills that have been passed nationwide in different states on different levels, about whether it's the Amy Cooper law, or we talked about the Karen Act with a C last week that got passed, or the defunding of the Los Angeles Police Department. $130 million gets taken away from the police department there, or $1 billion got taken away from the New York Police Department. These are all, you can call it pandering, you can call it bullshit, you can call it like election year nonsense. You can do that. That's fine and dandy. I am going to take it as the government is realizing they have to do something to appease these protests, right? Or else they wouldn't have done it at all. So I'm saying keep protesting so more shit can change and we can get to a level where we can actually see some fiscal. I see tangible changes being made. I really do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just being like a freaking a dreamer over here. I'm being a realist. I'm a journalist. I do this. I cover this shit. I read this shit. This is all I freaking do is research this stuff. And this stuff is happening nationwide as a result of the protests. How could you not see that correlation? So I personally believe things are happening because of the protests. And are we getting reparations tomorrow? No, we're not. But are we moving? Are we at least having the discussion for it? Yes, the discussion for reparations is actually taking place across the country. For serious discussions for it. That's because of the protests. So this stuff is happening. It's happening. So to answer your question, I know it was long-winded, DK. Yes, shit's getting done because of these protests, and it's beautiful. I love it.
Shit, DK. Tired of your shit, DK.
Shut up. All right. Well, I guess while we're on the topic of people that don't have plans,
I saved this. This is the last one, right? I saved this. Betsy
DeVos, what's up?
Ed Boy thinks she's
my
hot.
man.
No, Jesus, no.
Basically, right now, the debate nationwide right now is whether or not schools are going to reopen in person on schedule come September across the country. Again, we mentioned on the show often that every state is different. So really, it's not up to the president. It's not up to the orange man, although he believes it is in his mind. He thinks it's a dictatorship as usual. If it were up to him and Betsy DeVos, who is a complete idiot, they are, and Mike Pence as well. They're pushing for the schools to reopen as scheduled. Even Mike Pence, I saw this the other day. I cringed when I heard it. He basically said we shouldn't let the CDC determine if we're going to reopen schools.
The
we
Center
shouldn't go
for
by their
Disease
information.
Control.
Yes, he said that. His words. But bro, and his press secretary, she doubled down on that. I think recently, she doubled down. She was like, "Listen, we're not going to let science determine whether we're going to reopen schools." Are you fucking kidding me? We're not going to that. I'm with Ed. This has to be trolling. There's no way you could possibly believe that or go off of that. And
I think they're serious about that shit.
It's so crazy that in certain states, I think in Missouri, school districts are forcing parents to sign COVID-19 death waivers. You got to
Hell
be kidding
no.
me.
Bro,
In-
Bro, that's class action lawsuit heaven, bro. If I was
Back
a lawyer
City.
in the state of Missouri, I was like, yo, bro, let's get this started. Let's
Tearing that shit up.
let's make a quick
Let's get this
let's
money.
make a quick 100 million real quick.
Absolutely,
Get this
absolutely. It's so wild. I think in Texas, there's a teacher. I gotta find that story. She basically wrote her. She's writing her will before she goes back to work in September because Texas is one of those states that's pushing to reopen.
I mean,
I don't-
just generally speaking, you should have a will. Just saying.
You should.
But yeah.
LA has already. They're unified in Los Angeles, which is a beautiful thing. They're just like, listen, we're not reopening without a sound plan in place. In Arizona, a couple teachers, they shared a classroom for summer school. All 3 of them contracted COVID. All 3 of them. Yeah, and I believe one of them died. Yes, and one of them died.
That's crazy, bro.
This. Meanwhile, another first world country in Hong Kong, they've already suspended all schools due to Corona. They're not playing. They're not playing any games.
And here's the crazy part: like they don't have that many deaths relative to anyone else, and they're like Hong Kong is like one of the most densest populated places on the planet.
They're not taking any risks.
You can't stack people on top of each other more tightly than Hong Kong, and they're doing okay. So
they're not playing around, dog. Like again, here we go once again with politicizing
Bro.
a health crisis, right? Because you're gonna have 50 different states doing 50 different things. Shout out to Cuomo, you know what I mean? Shout out to California, shout out to Jersey, shout out to the states that are like, listen, we want to reopen, we do, because education is important. However, we want to be smart about it. If it's not safe, if freaking numbers are going to spike or are spiking, or mind you, we talked about this last week. The flu season is on the way.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Exactly.
That's just
Nobody's talking about that.
It gets me annoyed because it's just like,
Yeah, flu is just like fucking.
Hey there, like the Arthur meme. It's a whatever.
the thing that kind of gets me annoyed is that like I feel like people aren't taking it that serious just because so many cases are asymptomatic. So people are kind of like going around being like, "Oh, I think I'm healthy, I'll be all right," but it's like it still has the same effects on your lungs as it does regardless of whether you show any symptoms or not. And the even bigger thing is that like in your lungs, it scars your lungs, and that shit doesn't heal for like some people like a year, some people a few years and shit like that. And it's like there's just so many things. It's also showing that it's shown to be giving people diabetes, even people without any prior like history of that in like their family, and like even like there's that, right? And there's the whole thing about like can we get reinfected? I think there's been a few cases that show that. But even when we look at the antibodies in like the bodies, like people that are asymptomatic, their antibodies are not even detectable within a few months. So it's just like, what does that mean in the long run? What does it mean if in a few months you get that shit again and it does more damage to your lungs damage that is irreparable? Because like this whole thing, bro, I think the fact that a lot of people aren't seeing it, and like I guess they don't feel it that much. Like I think this is going to be an even bigger health thing like down the line. Like if we just let this shit rock like this, it'll just be, my man, like just people's lungs are going to be, in my opinion, like fucking destroyed. I think we're going to see a lot of like other issues just emerge like down the line from this shit. And the school thing just kind of gets me annoyed because it's just like you're going to endanger a lot of young people. A lot of fucking young people for no reason.
Yep.
And to me, it's just like, just accept it. Remote. That's it. Like, stop wasting everybody's time trying to figure out, should we do a mix of this or that, when it's going to be way cheaper and way more like cheaper, not only in my opinion in terms of money, but cheaper also in terms of people power, just trying to figure out what you're going to do. Just 100% remote. You can, I designed the curriculum that could be worked 100% remote. And, you can use it in the classroom. Like, to me, it's just like, there's only 2 cases you're going to end up with, right? You're not going to go back to school 100%. So it's either you do 100% remote or you do a mixed match. The mixed match is going to take 1 billion times more energy than just doing 100% remote. And it's not only that, I can't even imagine how many teachers are like older are going to be in that in that circle of like that you can't teach, and all they're gonna do is just get doctor's notes. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna not pay them? Like, you know, they did everything they had to legally. Yeah,
They got
the
unions.
teachers union is extremely strong, bro. And like to me, it's like silly. It's like everybody's kind of like praying and hoping that things are gonna go back to normal, and things will never go back to normal, bro. Like this is not going to change.
Nah, dude, facts. Like, bro, you said
Now when the
cheaper.
flu season comes, actually.
Facts. The flu season on the way, but you mentioned, dude, that this would be cheaper. It's gonna be cheaper and it's gonna be safer, dog. Like that's the main thing I'm thinking about with this whole thing. Not to mention, here's another point that a lot of people, another point people are missing here. Right now, currently across the country, school boards are meeting in Zoom. They're doing Zoom meetings, right, to discuss what to do.
How kids to come to school.
Exactly. So you're doing Zoom meetings. So right now, school administrators feel that it's not safe to meet in person. So they're meeting to determine if they're going to send millions of children back to school in person.
Right.
How fucking insane. How insane is it? Just think about that point. If you don't get anything else, anybody watching, all our viewers, all our rundown people, if you don't get anything from this show, get that point. You've got school boards across the country, nationwide, meeting this week, next week, for the past month. They're like, yo, listen, we're not going to meet in person because of COVID. So are these millions of children? They're going back to be in person, right? Everybody okay with that? Nah, bro. Teachers unions, bro. I don't have any kids that I know of, but they're not going to school. This is going on. Hell no. Hell no. Nah, bro. Not safe. It's not safe. And that's the rundown.